Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Please take your seats. No, it's not. Guys, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Please take your seats. We're going to get the program started very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could take your seats, appreciate it. We have a very full program. We're going to get started. Want me to introduce you?
I'm introducing you, but either way.
Then you introduce yourself.
Okay. Ooh, I kind of want to get on these stairs. Is that okay? All right, good morning, everyone. We are at capacity here this morning. This is great. Oh my goodness. Okay. Good morning, and welcome. And thank you for coming. Okay. Welcome to, okay, so how do any advice from I'm going to stay, can everybody hear me if I stand back here? Is this loud enough? We're in a relatively small room. I can also just stand up on the stage. Okay, is there anything we can do about that feedback? Okay. All right. Thank you and good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming and welcome to the Apprenticeship Forward Collaborative's Northeast Regional Meeting on using apprenticeship as a strategy for creating economic opportunity and mobility. My name is Mary Alice McCarthy, and I direct the Center on Education and Skills at New America. I'm going to just kick us off here with just a few quick framing comments about why we're here and what we're hoping to accomplish today. As I mentioned, I'm from New America. That's a public policy think tank located in Washington, D.C. We are dedicated to... If I stand up here, can everybody hear me? No? How about back there? Can folks hear me back there? Yeah. I'm sorry, that's just really hard in the ears, isn't it? So I'm just going to do this. Okay. Hi, everyone. So, as I said, New America is a public policy think tank located in Washington, D.C. We're dedicated to the renewal of American politics and prosperity in this age of increasing income inequality and polarization. At the Center on Education and Skills, we are focused specifically on expanding access to high-quality education and training models that lead to good jobs, right? At New America, we also have the distinct pleasure of being the co-organizers and co-leaders of the Apprenticeship Forward Collaborative, which we do with our partners, the National Skills Coalition, who you'll be hearing from later this morning. And that's what we're here today to share with you is the Apprenticeship Forward Collaborative. So what is the Apprenticeship Forward Collaborative? Okay, we are a coalition of 14 national organizations, all of them here, that are dedicated to expanding American apprenticeship and making it available in many more industries and to many more workers, job seekers, students, and employers. Many of the collaborative members are here in the room today and will be on various of the panels, and you'll be hearing from them throughout the day. But why apprenticeship, right? Why the Apprenticeship Collaborative now? What's happening? So the collaborative formed last year, and in part is just trying to take advantage of the fact that there seems to be a new conversation emerging in this country around apprenticeship. Over the last 5 years, apprenticeship has been making its way into the national dialogue in a way that I think for many of us who've been working in the field of workforce development for a while now have found wonderfully surprising, right? And it's exciting. And so the collaborative is trying to make sure that all of these new programs and innovations that seem to be popping up all over the country, as we see apprenticeships in fields that we've never seen them in before, like cybersecurity or early education or finance and insurance, to make sure that people know about them and know each other. So that's what we're here to do. And I think probably for many of you, just like for me, the fact that apprenticeship has been getting so much attention these last few years is, how's that? Okay, we're getting better. Okay, the fact that apprenticeship has been so much of the conversation is very exciting. But it's, in some ways, it's not that big of a surprise, right? And the reason it's not a surprise is because we know that apprenticeship is an incredibly effective and valuable education and training model. It's an education and training model that is simply hard to beat. And at a time when the price of higher education just keeps going up and up, right? Americans are looking for new ways to get skills and new ways to get into the labor market that are affordable. And employers, at a time when employers continue to struggle to find the skilled workers they need and to keep the skilled workers they need, apprenticeship is a solution that they can plug right in. Right? 80%, more than 80% of our registered apprentices complete their apprenticeship program. Compare that to our higher education system, where just around half of students who start a bachelor's degree will finish it in 6 years. Of those 80%, more than 80% of them will go directly into a job, often with their sponsor, and be making an average starting wage of over $55,000 and have no debt. Again, very different from some of the experiences that many Americans are having in other parts of our education system. And those workers, those apprentices who then become workers, are going to probably stick around for a long time. Right? Study after study has shown that apprenticeship is an excellent retention strategy. And the surveys of employers sort of give testimony to the fact that employers who use apprenticeship find great value in it because they can build a really excellent talent and keep those workers there. And so apprenticeship is a strategy with a great triple bottom line. It's great for the apprentices, it's great for employers, it's also great for communities. It's a tremendous grow your own strategy, and that's another new innovation we're seeing in a lot of parts of the country, where we have rural communities using apprenticeship in order to keep people where they are and so that they don't have to leave. So apprenticeship is great. In fact, apprenticeship, I would say, is one of the rarest of things in the United States today. Okay? It's something we all agree on. And almost all Americans, and our own survey data has shown this, would like to see more apprenticeship and would like to see more government support for apprenticeship. That's true for Republicans and Democrats. That's true for business and labor. It's true for city dwellers and rural folks, Northeasterners and Southerners, dogs and cats. Pretty much everybody agrees that apprenticeship is just great. Okay? So this is the rub, though. Everybody loves it, but for those of us who are in the know, it's like the best kept secret in America because our apprenticeship system is tiny. It's very, very small. As most of you probably know, we just have about, on an annual basis, about 500,000 registered apprentices. That's less than 1% of the labor market, of the workforce. Okay. What's more, of those 500,000 registered apprentices, they tend to be concentrated in just a few industries, in the skilled trades and in manufacturing. They're in fantastic programs, but we'd like to see them in many other parts of the economy as well, or in other industries. And what's more is they are overwhelmingly men, and very few apprentices come from African American, Hispanic, or Asian American communities, and very few are women, and very few are under the age of 26. Okay? So that's what the Apprenticeship Forward Collaborative is all about. That's what we're trying to tackle. As a group, we held a conference a year ago that brought together, it was a national conference in Washington, D.C., I think some of you were there. Like today, we exceeded, we blew out our registration. We had about 600 or 700 people in the room. We had a big waiting list and everything else, but what was really incredible about it was that we brought together people who were interested in apprenticeship from across the country, from very different sectors, business, labor, R's and D's, as I said, cities and rural countries. Rural counties, and what happened was sort of palpable because people started finding each other and saying, oh, you're doing that apprenticeship in IT, we want to do that, or we are doing it and we didn't think anybody else was. And people started connecting in ways that were just really exciting. We kind of had to kick people out the door at the end of the day and sort of said, go home. And what we heard back very loud and clear was that people wanted to stay connected, they wanted to know what was happening in other parts of the country. So with the generous support of 4 national foundations, the Annie E. Casey Foundation, the Ballmer Group, J.P. Morgan Chase & Company, and Siemens Foundation, we formed the collaborative, and we have 3 fundamental goals: to help expand apprenticeship into new industry sectors, to help diversify the pipeline of apprentices to include many more Americans, and to help states, cities, and the federal government develop better policies to support apprenticeship. As part of that work, then we are organizing regional convenings like this one to help hold up innovative programs and policies and investments and leaders who are pushing the apprenticeship envelope and really doing the things that we're talking about, expanding it into new industries and into new populations. So we have an incredible lineup for you here today. We are deeply honored that the Governor, Phil Murphy, can join us today and share his passion for apprenticeship. Thank you very much. We are very thrilled to have the brand new CEO of Siemens USA also joining us in one of her very first public appearances. Siemens has been an important supporter of apprenticeship in the United States. And we also have just an incredible list of panelists and speakers from across the Northeast. And thank you, all of you, for coming. So with that, then I'm going to hand over, not the microphone, so be careful, micro crazy again. Please allow me to introduce Dr. Carl Van Horn. For those of you from New Jersey, and really for anybody who's been working in workforce development for a while, Carl needs no introduction. There are a few people I could say who have shaped the thinking around workforce development policy and practice more than Carl Van Horn. He is the founding director of the Heldrick Center, where we are today. Thank you very much for hosting us today. We are deeply grateful for that. He is also a distinguished professor at the Edward Blaustein School of Public Planning and Public Policy, and he is a senior advisor to Governor Phil Murphy. So Carl, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. I'm gonna try this bow. How's that?
Maybe you have to be 6 feet away. Yeah.
Okay, thank you Mary Alice, very much. That introduction was wonderful. As I would say, I was thinking about as you say that my father would have thought it was really nice, and my mother would have believed everything you said. My dear mother, she was a fan. This is a tidy, cozy room. This reflects the interest, I think, in this program. Not just the governor being here, although I'm sure that's a draw, but many people are interested in this, and I'm so happy that we're able to work with these outstanding national organizations and all of you here to advance this triple bottom win, as you said. My task is a very simple one, is to introduce the governor and get out of the way, but I did want to say a few things about the governor. I met him several years ago, and one of the first things on his quest for helping the state of New Jersey before he was a candidate was to meet with people, and I was astounded by how much he knew about workforce development when he got to my office. Partly from his own professional experience, but also, of course, being ambassador to Germany and having lived in Germany, he understood a great deal about workforce and how an advanced industrial country can get it right and be successful paying high wages and good jobs and good benefits for people who live in that country. And the governor is already on the path of doing that in New Jersey. As he likes to say, he's in favor of a stronger, fairer economy. And what that means, I think, is clearly embodied in the apprenticeship world, because here you have, as Mary Al said, a triple win. It's good for the economy, it's good for businesses, it's good for the state, and most importantly, it's good for job seekers who can earn wages and support themselves and their family. Already in the first few months of his administration, he's advanced a number of things to achieve those goals, including pay equity legislation, a proposal to raise the minimum wage across the board, and just a whole host of accomplishments which we're all very proud of as citizens of the state. So today, the governor is going to expand on what he's already talked about, which is how to improve our workforce development programs with a special emphasis on apprenticeships. And he is not just talking the talk, he's walking the walk. And so it's my honor and privilege to introduce Governor Phil Murphy of New Jersey.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I don't know if you deliberately downsized the room, but we're packed in here, man. It appears to be one of the most popular things we've been talking about in a long time. Really honored to be here this morning. I wish I could stay the whole conference. I can't, but it's a great agenda filled with great people and discussion points. So thank you all for being here. It is a pleasure to be here with you for this, I think, a much needed discussion on how we can best prepare, in New Jersey's case, our workforce for the jobs not only of tomorrow, but of those we must fill even today. I got to thank the Heldrick Center for Workforce Development here at Rutgers University, in case you're wondering. Little subtle draping there. And its director and my dear friend Carl Van Horn. Carl, to you and Maria and the entire Heldrick team, you do an extraordinary job. Thanks for hosting us today. Thanks for your kind words. I also love the fact that we're doing this in New Jersey. So thank you for your efforts to get it actually done here. I also thank the Apprenticeship Forward Collaborative and its member organizations, with a specific shout out to New America and the National Skills Coalition for their sponsorship of today's forum. Having your national focus put on our efforts here in New Jersey shows that we're on the right path. So Mary Alice, I thank you for your opening remarks. Anne Marie Slaughter and I served the Obama administration, and she served with extraordinary distinction in the position, for those of you who are historians and are for our country, in the position once occupied by George Kennan. So those are extraordinary shoes, and she filled them right up. I also want to recognize the other speakers and panelists today. I got to give a particular shout out to my Freund aus Siemens, who employ something around 2,700 folks by our count in New Jersey. So to new, yeah, that's a good thing. We need every one of them. To Siemens, new USA, new CEO Barbara Humpton, great to be with you. Foundation CEO David Etzweiler, honored to be with you all today. I'll come back to Germany later on, but the Germans have figured the apprenticeship thing out, let there be no doubt. And frankly, outside of the building trades, who have done a really good job in our state and in America, there are too few examples where it's getting done really well here, and that's something we got to change. I also want to give a shout out to our Labor and Workforce Development Commissioner, Robert Asaro. Angela, Rob, you should stand up and take a bow, make sure everyone knows who you are. Freshly hot off the press, minted Secretary of Higher Education, Zakiya Smith Ellis is in the house. Also freshly minted Commissioner of Education, by the way, Dr. Zakiya Smith Ellis, Commissioner of Education, Dr. Lamont Repillette. And many other members of our administration and broader team in this room, and thank you all for being here. I know that, as many of you all do, that moving our economy and our workforce forward will require the public sector and private sector to come together in partnership, to share research and best practices, to brainstorm, and to advocate. In each of these areas, I truly hope that today is just the beginning of a long-running conversation. We have a question that we always ask inside of our team: is this a wedding or a marriage? And frankly, we're not keen on weddings, because you plan them, you do them, and you all go home. This is one we want to be married to as an administration. Today's forum also comes at an important time, frankly, for New Jersey. Item number one on our administration's agenda is to get our state's economy up off the blocks and back to running laps around our competitors as it had done so for so many years. I have spoken many times, and Carl alluded to this, of a stronger and fairer economy, one that grows and also looks out for families. And those are not mutually exclusive ideas. They go together. Instilling fairness, whether through better wages and workforce protections or expanding educational opportunities, is vital to ensuring everyone can participate in the economy. It won't be enough if we just grow. We need to make sure it works for everybody. And we get stronger when we create new and exciting job opportunities through targeted economic growth and investment in key growth sectors. But we also must ensure that our growth and investments are sustainable. The budget we proposed a couple of months ago, and that we're still negotiating, would provide the long-term sustainable revenues New Jersey needs to create a better future and invest in our residents. It makes the right decisions to take more of the tax burden away from our middle class and off working families and small businesses, and ensures the very wealthiest and the biggest companies pay their fair share. And this is not class warfare, this is equity. Yes, I believe deeply that the millionaire's tax is the right way forward. And yes, closing loopholes that many other states, if not most other states, have long ago done is also common sense. And yes, resetting and undoing the gimmick associated with the sales tax is also the right, responsible thing to do. The only way we grow and strengthen our economy is by strengthening our fiscal foundation. I know there is a broad agreement that we cannot continue to lurch from one budget crisis to another. I know there's broad agreement to invest in our workforce. What we need now is broad agreement that the long-term fiscal health of our state is more important than just lurching from one crisis to another. What we need is to end the fiscal games and gimmicks that have robbed us the chance to invest in New Jersey through responsible, forward-looking policies and significant investments in everything from pre-K through K through 12 public education in our community colleges, and in rigorous and vigorous apprenticeship programs that will prepare our residents for work. Our budget would ensure that the programs we need for workforce development are not one-offs, instituted in year one only to be abandoned in year two. And after years of neglect and defunding, our apprenticeship programs need our focus now. Currently in New Jersey, we can boast more than 7,000 residents enrolled in one apprenticeship program or another. But when we look beyond our borders to our competitor states, we see that our numbers are dwarfed significantly. And Mary Alice talked a little bit about the national scene. I look at Massachusetts, as I often do, as a competitor state, a state that looks a lot like us, and I see apprenticeship programs that enroll 50% more residents than we do, 50% more. And apprenticeship participation as a percentage of the workforce has grown nationally, with the national participation rate average now nearly 2/3 higher than New Jersey's participation rate. In fact, it's quite striking that since 2013, apprenticeship enrollment is up nationally by 42%. But in New Jersey, it's slightly down. And we have to turn that around. The building trades have shown the way for effective apprenticeship programs. New Jersey was quite literally built by union hands, and we're going to need more of them to help us build the places where new businesses will take root and grow. And it's across the whole building trades, but given that we're in Middlesex County, I got to give a shout out to the Northeast Carpenters. We were together, Rob, a couple of months ago, and they opened their new apprenticeship training facility in Edison, and it is rocking. You got to go visit. Now is the time to expand upon these successful models and extend them to additional occupations to train workers who can earn family-sustaining wages. We need a broader vision of what an apprenticeship is and how it could feed our future economic strength. We need to embrace apprenticeship programs for fields in the innovation economy and in healthcare, in clean energy and advanced manufacturing, sectors which we are poised to dominate. We know that not every job we will need to fill will require a PhD or even a 4-year college degree. The National Skills Coalition has estimated that while 1/3 of the total job openings we can create by 2024 will be for high-skilled jobs, exactly half will be for middle-skilled jobs that require additional training for skilled job opportunities. Unfortunately, this creates a new problem. Reality is we have far fewer middle-skilled workers than we will have middle-skilled jobs. So that means we must also recognize the need to ensure the strong supply of middle-skilled workers that the companies we want to attract to New Jersey or retain will need. Doing so will ease hiring and reduce unemployment. It will encourage business growth while keeping more of our young people here in state. This is where apprenticeship programs can help fill that gap. Already our administration has committed to create, through our proposed budget, the New Jersey Apprenticeship Network to reverse